Hey, what's up guys? This is the Abactor back again, bringing you a full-length Jungle Illaoi commentary. And I thought I'd just throw this game out there. This is my second full commentary that I've made. But this one is definitely a little off meta. I am playing Jungle Illaoi this game, which is not necessarily something that I would recommend to all of you kind people to bring up in your ranked games necessarily. But it is super, super fun, and I think honestly, with the jungle as strong as it is right now, I think that Jungle Illaoi is the strongest that it's ever been, and you'll see why kind of as I go through my clear for sure. Uh, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about this game. My normal MMR used to be really high. It is not high anymore. My ping has been super bad, and I always like to play champs on release that really suck, so I tanked it pretty hard with playing some Ivern, and recently trying to figure out how to play AP Shaco jungle, which is now the highest win rate Shaco build. Uh, so yeah, my normal MMR is not good, and I think most of the people in this game are mid gold, low plat. I think there's like a plat 2 in here. And some silvers as well. So really big spread from plat to silver, no diamonds this game. But yeah, I think for the most part, a lot of people play well. This is one of the weirdest games that I've ever played in terms of who gets fed and who doesn't. So it'll be interesting to kind of watch how the lanes play out. We've got Corky Bard in the bot lane and Jin Thresh up against them on the opposing team. Jungle Evelyn versus Jungle Illaoi, and Yasuo versus Kog'Maw. I would not want to play AP Kog'Maw into Yasuo, that's just me. And Graves versus the Riven. I think that the Riven hadn't really been playing that much this season, and she kind of struggles a little bit. But anyway, you're looking at Jungle Illaoi's first clear, and if you've been kind of watching, it's pretty good. You know, it's level 3 by 230. And the real secret to that is that I made sure to spawn a bunch of tentacles in different areas around the side that I wanted to clear on. There Eve does the red to Krug's level 3 route, which is super strong, and gets a kill on my bot lane, which is kind of to be expected. But back to how Illaoi clears in the jungle. You know, a lot of the time, if you watch the passive counter here, I think it might be displaying properly. I don't think it is displaying properly. But what you kind of want to do when you're playing Jungle Illaoi is you want to make sure that you have one tentacle for every camp. So what I was kind of doing before was setting up a bunch of tentacles around the first camps that I was going to do and staying within range of them to make sure that they were up, and just using them with my W to kind of clear pretty easily, because it's good AoE. So here we go. This Graves is pushing really heavily, which is kind of something that Graves tend to do when they go top. I take this kill mostly just because I wasn't really sure if sums were up or anything like that, so I just decided to make sure and secure it with my ranged ability. So here we go. Still looking at kind of this first clear. I don't have a tentacle up right now. I use it in lane, so I take a little bit more damage from this camp compared to all of the others. But once you finally get that tentacle down, just look at that clear. It's just so efficient getting those AoE tentacle procs kind of over and over and over again. And I'm pretty sure I get to kill all of these at once. Oh, I missed one. Shoot. But anyway, I'm level 5 at 4 minutes and 22 seconds, and my whole jungle is clear. And I was kind of like hoping that Illaoi would feel this strong in the jungle. So I played it before in previous seasons, and I think that now that you spend a lot more time in one specific location, that Jungle Illaoi is way stronger, since you have to spend you have a time to wait for a tentacle to spawn and repeatedly hammer it down onto whatever it is you're trying to kill. So early game has gone really well for me. In case anyone's noticed, I have decided to be very bold and pick up a BF sword first buy in the jungle. Should I have bought a Tiamat? Probably. But a BF sword is way more fun and really a lot more damage. So whatever my level 6 kind of encounter is, I feel like will be a lot harder. So I was just kind of testing the range on the tentacle and seeing if I could get that one on the corner to hit Gromp, and it was out of range. So I messed that up a little bit. But here I'm just kind of killing some time, like wondering if Eve is gonna come fight me, and kind of watching mid lane, trying to get a scope of who's doing well, looking at scores, and I kind of decided that if the Cog had tier, he would at least be able to sit in the lane. And honestly, I wasn't really sure about this level 5 gank, but like immediately when I started walking over, Yasuo stepped way up, and there you see the BF sword damage coming in, and really neither of them expect it. You know, I get that grass proc off too, with the Cog E at the same time, and you know, it's just kind of hard to go toe-to-toe with someone like that. So small miscalculation on my part, not being able to pick up the Yasuo, but the good news is that there's no way that he can step up for this farm here. He really should just base immediately and, you know, say that sucks and I'm not going to get that massive wave. But me and Ka get to push down this tower super early, just like a massive advantage for us. Riven goes down in the top lane to the Graves, which is something that, you know, I guess it is kind of a tricky matchup, especially when, you know, I feel like if you don't really have complete advantage in the early game, you can't just kind of stomp that Graves. I feel like the range matchup will be really tough. So Cog kind of gets caught here, so I come back, and there's that first ultimate. Whenever you get a BF sword pre-6, which happens every once in a while in Illaoi, smack. Your level 6 ulti always feels super good. So something else that I wanted to mention is that I do get super lucky this game in that they have a lot of really short-range champions, and a lot of people don't like playing Illaoi into Yasuo. I've really never had a problem with it, and I really like the matchup in general. So this is definitely over-aggression here. I think that I had enough space to leave here, and if I remember correctly, I die. Yeah, I'm just kind of in La La Land after literally being on the map for, I can't even tell you how long, and shoving down that tower. I just kind of forgot that the Yasuo was coming back. That was not a good play. And I really feel like in this game, I don't even really play that well. I think a lot of it is just these matchups. The Eve is going a pretty suboptimal build. It seems. I don't actually play Eve jungle, and I don't know. But she and the Yasuo can kind of basically never walk up to fight me. And on top of that, their whole team is AD, which is why I went for Grasp in the jungle, which is, I think I would almost always still go. And eventually I am going to get a Cinderhulk, and kind of transition into a tank role. Just because I think Illaoi does a lot of damage, and as a jungler, you're kind of taking the space of a champion that has a lot of utility. A lot of other junglers, you know, bring things like Kindred has her ultimate to keep people alive. Bai has massive CC. A lot of champions bring utility from the jungle in terms of CC. And kind of the only CC that I have as Illaoi is kind of damage zoning. So the way that I'm planning on being impactful is just making sure that no one can get remotely near me. And that's going to be my best form of CC. It's just essentially having a 700 range radius around my champion that people can't come up to. So at this point, I'm super strong, and I spent so much time in the mid lane farming creeps that my whole jungle came back up, which is super awesome. And when I saw that, I picked up a Tiamat rather than going for something like a Cleaver or finishing my Cinderhulk, just because at the time it would be a super efficient buy. So both solos die there on the map, which kind of sucks. And I'm starting to kind of realize that this game is going to be a little bit tough for sure. Yeah, once I miss that E on the Graves, I just kind of know that I can't really fight him. So I just back off and try to get the farm. But that's the funny thing about Illaoi is I'm super, super strong in this clip, in this particular point in the game, I mean. But, you know, like, if I can't land my E on that Graves and he doesn't want to hang out and fight me, you know, there's really nothing I can do about it. So I was happy to soak some experience while the Ribbon TP'd, and if I had landed that E, I might have been able to do something. But it's fine, I get to still power farm these Krugs, which is all get, you know, blown to smithereens so fast. So yeah, this is kind of the point in the game where I'm like, okay, this is kind of looking bad. Riven has literally 50% of her laner CS, and Cog, I just kind of like taking a look at his build. I felt like that whatchamacallit, needlessly large rod was kind of greedy. Since he's kind of not winning in CS, I feel like if you're playing Cog, you just want a turtle and maybe, I don't know, get like Sorks or like an arm guard or something, because he's never really going to kill that Yasuo in the mid lane, so I don't really know what the combat stats are going to get him. So I was kind of like scratching my head at some of these things. But the Yasuo is playing super hyphy. It made me wish I was playing someone with CC so that I could, you know, commit to go kill that guy or something. But instead, there's a lot of free gold sitting right here in front of mid lane, and I farm that before inevitably going to find the Yasuo. And I catch vision of him right there for 2 seconds, and I start walking down. I feel like he could have dipped up and gotten out of range. I got kind of lucky with a speed shrine there. He does a pretty decent amount of damage to me before I get that double Q combo. And I kind of got really lucky in that I baited out that lantern before I engaged in bot lane on the Yasuo. So once Thresh threw the lantern out, that Jhin was super messed up. So honestly, kind of a misplay on the Thresh there. Definitely should have saved lantern for someone that wasn't going to die necessarily. And Tada, I am super fed. I also want to point out I have tier 2 boots now. Super early to have tier 2 boots. Everyone else is running around with brown bags, so that's part of the reason why I caught the Yasuo and, you know, got into position for that gank with a speed shrine. So far, you know, after I get that kill, the game's looking up. I'm like in prime position to carry the hell out of this with 5 kills. During this game, I never really thought that I was taking too much gold. You'll see that I take a ton of lane farm too. And I kind of just thought that I was going to be so big that I was going to be able to carry. Here's the Yasuo going super aggressive. He must have used all of his jumps, or I feel like he should have just stayed and murdered that Kog'Maw for sure. But he goes back in. Looks like his E is off cooldown and picks him up. This time, I'm pretty sure he'll die immediately. Yeah, Kog'Maw picks him up with passive. And here I am again, now that Cog is dead. 2-4-1, farming his lane. At this point, I am level 11, and by far the most experienced player in the game. I've got a level on top lane Graves, who is kind of dominating his lane. So I am super, super strong. I'm still feeling optimistic about carrying this. A little bit low on mana now. I feel like we're kind of at least at a little bit of equilibrium. Top lane is under pressure. But I wasn't really sure if I would be able to do anything with the Graves. Like if I walk top lane, you know, what exactly happens? Does he just walk off and you know, I have to show on the map and lose pressure that way or what? So I come grab my blue and kind of look around at what's going on. I decided I wanted to deny that honey fruit just in case someone else was pushed up in the lane. And bot's getting ganked with the help of Eve, and I'm here to counter gank. Decent flash by the Jhin. Really poor positioning by the rest of their team. Kind of sad that I couldn't kill the Thresh there. That was a little bit of a misplay. But the Eve goes down. and that's kind of good enough for me. I wish I could have gotten more, but honestly, that Jin flash was at a pretty good time. If I remember correctly, maybe he flashed through his creep wave, so that I couldn't necessarily get on him. But nonetheless, it kind of put him out of range for a good E. But in the end, the Eve is going tank with a Blood Razor. Man, I didn't even notice that the first time. I don't even think I really cared about the Eve, because there was really nothing that she could do that was going to out-pressure me at this point in the game. But I think this is kind of the point where the type-a-thon occurs, and I'm starting to really like type to my team. And I don't know if the Cog still has brown bags, but he's got a Rylai's, which is kind of okay to keep the Yasuo off him. But it really just, all that really does is add, one more slow on his Q, and potentially the ult, which isn't even really that strong a slow since it's AoE. So I'm still hovering bot, because they're feeling cocky just because it's only Bard there in the lane. But I can so easily kill them in a 2v2 with Bard. So depending on if we get CC or not, it's a pretty easy gank. Let's see how this plays out. Get a good E. Can't really do that much. Good thing the Bard juked that, or he definitely would have died immediately. Yeah, and he lives. Basically, we get to bait it out, and Corki shows up to back us up. So yeah, that was a pretty hyphy play from the Bard. I'm glad that worked out. And now I'm just thinking like Eve is here, Bard, you really got a base. I'm pretty sure I'm typing that in chat right now. And there she is, killing him. I think that Corki ends up kind of getting out of range. I come to pressure to make sure he doesn't get jumped on. But we get the Drake because Eve showed and kind of used her spells and stuff. So, honestly, that's worth trading the support for a Drake, even if he didn't really know that he was doing that. But we lose top tower as well, because Riven can't even really hold against the Graves. I think this is the point in the game where the Cog finally starts rotating around the map more. And he can, he has pretty good wave clear, so he should have probably just tried to swap with the Riven, since Riven kind of wins the Yasuo matchup in my opinion anyway. Maybe if they lane swapped earlier, they would both be stronger. But it's hard to put a Kog'Maw top lane. And the question is, do you want a weak Kog'Maw or a weak Riven? The answer to that, I don't really know. Kind of prefer if they were both strong, but that's just not how it worked out. So looking back at item builds now, had my Cinder Hulk done for a while now, which is kind of like icing on the cake in terms of Illaoi's clear. As long as you have some AD items, your AoE clear is insanely good. As long as you have some AD, kind of the residual burn effect is pretty good to just burn down things like small Krugs, and usually make it so that you need kind of one less W to clear camp. And not only that, I actually like the Sunfire passive on Illaoi in general. I think it's pretty good. Something that's really interesting about Illaoi is that her E, just to talk about the ability for a little bit, has some really unique qualities. And Illaoi's E, depending on how much AD you have, here, I'll pick this up later. Really awesome Bard ultimate. That's like really well done. I still didn't land my E on the Jhin, which is definitely regrettable. It is so hard to lock Eve down though. Like she gets a really well timed W off, and it's just completely out of there. But I'm still just getting super fed. But anyway, an interesting thing about Illaoi E is that so depending on how much AD you have, it echoes the amount of damage that you do to the particular champion, to the vessel back to the champion. So here I've got 45 plus 16. I'm trying to call the rest of the team to push so we can keep pushing. So I've got what is that? 61% echo damage. which is a ton. You know, so if you hook someone at max HP, they'll only have 39% of their health remaining if you kill the vessel. And something that's interesting about that, I've talked about it in kind of Reddit posts and things like that. Oh man, that Corky blocking for his support. Really good guy. Ultimately, I think he does die for his choice though. Oh yeah, yep, he gets taken out. So kind of a bad call with your AD trying to save your support. And you know, I'm playing Illaoi, so if people are going in, I don't have any escape abilities. I just thought I'd go down fighting. So kind of back to, man, I don't remember this game being so action-packed. I thought I was going to have some time to explain. Sunfire Cape and Illaoi E. But anyway, when you hit a champion and the vessel with the same ability, you effectively hit that champion twice. You hit the champion themselves and the vessel. So when you hit the vessel, the amount of damage done is equal to, of course, whatever your E translation ratio is. For me, it's 61%. So no matter when you hit someone with your Q, for example, you hit them with 100% of your regular Q normal damage and an additional 61% of your Q damage. So your Q effectively does 161% of its regular damage if you Q both the vessel and the champion. But something that people kind of always realize, wow, I hit my Q on the vessel and the champ, that did so much damage. There are a ton of people who have posted like kind of one-shot videos where it's just E, Q, and you hit both and they die, which is a really satisfying feeling. But that effect actually works on everything. The 161% will work on every ability that hits both the champion and the vessel. So think about Vigard W, Primordial Burst. If you hit both of that, it'll increase Primordial Burst by 161%, an additional 61% damage, which is just like absolutely mind-boggling. So that kind of ratio of damage multiplication works on everything, and it also works on your Cinder health. So I get a decent ult off here. The Yasuo actually like pulls a flash there, so that was like a good move on his part. I really thought I was gonna block that. I was trying to block it, but alas, I did not. So I think that we're just cleaning up this fight. There's like one little nugget over there that I'm gonna go pick up. So I've got here comes the Eve. My passive's on tool down. I probably should have saved my E for a little bit, but here I just get totally styled on. She like dodges 2 tentacles, and I just feel like an idiot. But I'll show you a really good example of what I'm talking about right here. I land this E, Q, and Titanic Hydra together burst down that Jhin. And I actually built Hydra in my last gameplay video, and I spent a lot of time talking about it then, which is funny because I don't actually build Titanic Hydra that often on Illaoi. And people claim it's not a really good item because it doesn't give that much AD, but an interesting thing that kind of ties in with what I've all been talking about is if you hit the champion and the vessel at the same time with anything, it'll increase the damage of that ability by your E ratio, so 61%. Unless I think it must have went up since I bought some items. So the interesting thing about both Hydras, Ravenous and Titanic, is that in that situation right there where I was in line between with the vessel and the champion right behind it, that Titanic passive actually did an additional 61% damage, which when you think about it, must make it kind of insanely gold efficient if you can be hitting both the vessel and the champion at the same time. So that's kind of like my justification of the item. I do think that adding more damage to your W on Illaoi kind of sort of quote unquote breaks her damage pattern, which is something that is beneficial because, like, she's kind of balanced around the idea that a lot of your damage is unreliable. You have to land your E, you have to land your Q, but the more reliable damage that you can stack on your W, kind of the stronger of a champion she becomes, because she's not really designed to be played that way, in my opinion at least. So this game is getting kind of close. We're down an insane amount of gold. Of course, I did not know that at this point in time. I could have inferred for sure, but how much is that? Man, that's almost 6k. Yeah, so we're down 6k this game. That is a lot of items that we don't have. But a lot of these panic pings are me trying to get the team to kind of focus objectives and stuff. I think that, like, doing things like dying for a tier 2 tower bot lane isn't exactly how you're going to win a game that you're behind on, but I digress. So this fight is going pretty well for us. We kind of have them zoned, and again, Bard with these ultimates. Amazing ultimate onto that Jhin, but he flashes out, super sad. The Ka gets flashed on, and I kind of have this moment where I just feel like the enemy team forgot that like I'm literally the only person in this game with an insane amount of gold. So the Yasuo is just kind of thinking that he's going to DPS me down here. And I have basically no pressure in terms of when to kill him. I just get to kind of wait as long as I want. So he goes down, and they actually get aced. I don't know. I think that I call Baron here. Like, watching this game, I'm calling Baron in my mind. So I'm not sure if we do it now or not. It might be too late with Eve back up. Yeah, I think that we had lanes way too shoved to be thinking about Baron at this point. But anyway, I'm starting to kind of again get really strong. I picked up a ton of gold last fight, and I'm working on some of those really big armor items. If you just look at my stats, I've got 3,500 HP and 222 AD, which is actually significantly lower than most Illaoi builds, seeing as I really only have 2 AD items. I've got a BF sword and I've got a Titanic Hydra. So significantly lower AD than I have, but I do have a lot of these kind of damage multipliers in terms of the Cinder Hulk and the Titanic Hydra. I think are kind of honestly giving me plenty of damage, so I'm starting to stack a lot of armor here. Oh yeah, so this is where I'm like calling Baron, because Corki showed bot. I was like 100% sure that they were on it. I debated walking directly past the Yasuo to go to Baron, but I realized that he had a mallet and he would have just been annoying, so I do blow ult on him, and it ends up being the right choice because it pulls them off. And Eve is just not tanky enough to kind of sit on the Baron, so we get to shove them off for free. I think honestly, if Yasuo was on the Baron there, DPSing with whatever crit he has, I think that they might have been able to burn it down, since Corki was pretty late to get there. Poor Riven still cannot fight the Graves. Honestly, I don't really play that much Graves or Riven, so I don't really know what she could be doing better. So I was just kind of trying to help people macro. So here we are with Baron. I'm like, finally, alright, this game is kind of under control. Riven's dead, but she's not really that useful anyway. So let's just let's see if we can get some towers. And I think this first one comes pretty easy because, again, the Yasuo was bot. I think that I don't know if it would have mattered if he did end up mid here and try to contest with Windwall or not. But we're free to push. I wish that Bard would be with us. I don't even really know what he was doing right now. But nonetheless, Kog and I end up trying to basically 2v4. Bard ends up coming. And I think this is my mistake. I kind of baited myself and my team right here. And we have Baron. It really doesn't make any sense for me to die here. This is a really bad play on my part. But it doesn't really end up going terribly. The Riven comes in and kind of cleans up, or at least pressures so that they can't chase. And then finally, here, let's see what's going on. And then finally, Graves shows up, and like, as if everyone's forgotten, just like they've forgotten with me, Graves is massively fed. So Graves gets a double and wipes some of our Baron off, which is kind of a shame. Yeah. So luckily we still have some Barons on. So if we play this correctly, we should be able to still kind of have pressure on their side of the map. Cog is going back top. I'm finally spawned again. I might be waiting for an item right here. Let's see. Yeah, we have to give up another, well, an Infernal, which kind of sucks. But we're kind of at like a slow point in the game. It would be nice if we could kind of group up and siege again. But I'm not sure how much that's gonna happen. I don't really remember. I mean, I think I was waiting for on an item maybe. So I've got a Thornmail and a Dead Man's and a Cleaver now. Oh yeah, I was waiting on that Cleaver. So I'm huge, which is great, but also really terrible because I'm 6 items and I cannot really get stronger than this. And I kind of feel like this is an optimal build for this game. And here I am just trying to get people to group. We still have 2 Barons. But Graves is pushing. And he's just pushing like way too fast. We've got 2 Barons. And I think that Riven gets caught recalling here. Yeah, this is not how you win games, ladies and gentlemen. So Riven gets picked. We've got 2 Baron recalls that couldn't get used. So Graves is solo pushing, just shredding everything. Meanwhile, I am at mid, kind of not even looking. You know, just realizing that I'm 4v1, wondering why these people think that they can fight me. You know, getting a kill in a 3v1. Finally walk back to the team, and there is no team anymore. The team is gone, and this game is over. So, just like that, bad macro play on kind of not only me, but kind of the rest of my team as well. So I decided to go down with the ship here, kind of trying to do the best that I can. I was pretty sad about getting styled on by this Graves. But all in all, I think that I played really well, seeing as a lot of my team was pretty behind. But in the end, you know, it was just kind of macro that got us back in the game and macro that lost us the game. You know, we had Baron recalls to stop that Graves in the bot lane, but just no one showed up, and he's got so much AD that he just shredded through our whole base. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about Jungle Illaoi. Do you think that my off-meta pick is part of why we didn't win this game? You know, that's what I was kind of wondering, is if I was playing someone with CC or whatever, would it kind of bring up my shortcomings as a player? Because I think I played this game at like 1:30 at night yesterday, and was not really in try-hard mode. This was the last one before I went to bed. But let me know what you guys think, and let me know what you think about Jungle Illaoi, and if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys another time.